Hello and welcome to the Intermittent Fasting Gems with Jen podcast. I'm your host, Jen, a middle-aged Michigan mama, wife, and teacher who in 2021 stumbled upon this crazy cool thing called intermittent fasting. And before I knew it, I'd lost 46 pounds in 4 months and gained an incredible lifestyle filled with complete food freedom. If you're hungry for unique, no-nonsense fasting tips that actually work, you're in the right place. So whether you're walking the dog, folding that last load of laundry, or cruising to your 9 to 5, let's start fasting our way to freedom together. Hello and welcome, my fabulous fasting friends. In today's episode, I thought it would be fun and hopefully very helpful to talk about the schedule that I followed to find success with intermittent fasting. So in today's episode, I'll be sharing the exact hour by hour eating, drinking, intermittent fasting daily schedule that I followed when losing 46 pounds in 4 months. All right, here we go. So back in January of 2021, my life began to completely change for the better. I was 45 years old at the time, and after years and years of yo-yo dieting, fad diets, juice cleanses, you name it, I discovered the incredible power of intermittent fasting. Hallelujah. And after jumping into the intermittent fasting lifestyle with both feet, I successfully lost 46 pounds in 4 months and actually reached a weight on the scale that was lower than my high school weight. I could not believe it. I was in shock that I had been so successful, and honestly, compared to all of the other fad diets out there that I had tried, and there were a lot of them, I found intermittent fasting to be so much easier and doable. Probably because I have never once felt like I was on a diet since I started in 2021. Anyways, today I want to share with you the exact intermittent fasting schedule that I followed pretty much to a T each day to lose the weight and put into motion a sustainable plan that has helped me to maintain my weight 4 years later as a woman who will be, oh yes, I will, be 50 years old in just 3 short months. All right, so back in January of 2021, when I first learned about and began my intermittent fasting journey, I was working as an elementary physical education teacher. In the morning, I would roll out of bed about 6:15, brush my teeth, immediately drink a large glass of ice water. Then I would be listening to a motivating intermittent fasting podcast, usually one by Jen Stevens, while I was putting my makeup on and getting ready for work. Grab my black coffee and head out the door. Once I was at work, I did not eat any food, and I just continued with my fasting and continued to drink my black coffee until about noon. As an elementary PE teacher, I wasn't getting what you would call an official exercise workout in, but I was definitely keeping quite busy and active as I interacted with my students during each class. I do warm-up exercises with them. I most often play tag games with them. So I pretty much kept myself so busy at work that I didn't even have time to think about or worry about eating lunch. So I really didn't miss it. Moving into the afternoon, around noon, I would stop drinking my black coffee and switch to drinking 1 to 2 12-ounce cans or bottles of plain sparkling mineral water. And the emphasis is on plain. So I usually would drink the plain sparkling mineral water until about 2 p.m. And I know I've talked about this trick a lot, but when I say game changer for curbing hunger, I really mean it. Once I began drinking plain sparkling mineral water, intermittent fasting truly became an absolute breeze. The carbonation, the bubbles, it pretty much just stops hunger in its tracks. It's awesome. Just remember that, again, you've got to drink plain sparkling mineral water if you are in your fasting hours like I was. Anything with flavor is a no-no and could possibly spike insulin levels and break your fast. So just save the flavored sparkling water for your eating window only. Next, I switched to sipping on a nice big mug of green tea between about 2 and 4 p.m. Green tea is an absolutely awesome intermittent fasting clean drink because there are so many massive benefits to green tea. It not only improves your health, but it simultaneously aids in shrinking your waistline. My absolute favorite green tea brands are Bigelow. That's a really great brand. And I also like 365 by Whole Foods Market. They are both very high quality green teas, and they are cost effective as well. I will leave the link to both of those in the show notes. Remember though, this is just like the plain sparkling mineral water. If you're drinking green tea, you want to keep your fast clean. You still need to avoid putting things in your tea. So no adding any lemon or other flavorings to your tea that could potentially break your fast. And just a side tip here, if you're looking to kind of jazz up your intermittent fasting clean drinks during your fasting hours, I kind of got into this routine and it's really, really good. So I actually would take the plain sparkling mineral water and I would steep the green tea in it and drink it cold. I don't know what made me do that, but once I started it, it was really, really tasty. So if you want to switch things up and you want to get away, maybe it's warmer weather, you want to get away from hot tea for a bit, it's nice and refreshing. And as I've talked about before, green tea is great for freshening your breath. So a lot of times if you've got that coffee breath from the morning, which I definitely did, and also if you are eating low carb and you're really fasting deep into your fasting window, ketones are really revved up and you've got a high ketone level, that could cause a little bit of stinky breath. And the green tea is going to be a great solution to helping freshen your breath. All right, so moving on to early evening as I'm wrapping up school. As I walked out of school for the day, I would grab one more bottle or can of plain sparkling mineral water. And I just kept it cold. I had a little mini fridge at school. So I would grab that on my way out and I would drink that on my drive home, usually between like 4 and 4:30 p.m. So then once I returned home from work in the early evening, I would quickly change my clothes. Then I headed to the basement for a fasted workout, which is another very powerful, game-changing intermittent fasting weight loss tip for you. One that I've talked about before. You can actually head back to episode number 41 of this podcast if you want more details on fasted cardio, as well as a really awesome 30-minute fasted cardio workout. Next, after finishing my 30 to 40-minute fasted workout, I began cooking a delicious Green Chef meal for myself and my family, usually around 5 o'clock p.m. For those of you who don't know, Green Chef is a meal delivery system, and I believe that is another big tip and reason for my weight loss success. I actually think I'll do a podcast episode on the benefits of using a meal delivery service in the next month or so. But anyways, as I prepared dinner, I would listen to and very poorly sing. I'm a terrible singer, but I'd love to sing. But anyways, as I prepared dinner, I would listen to my favorite country music tunes in the kitchen and make up a serving of my ACV, fast breaking weight loss drink. And while sipping on my apple cider vinegar weight loss drink, I would just continue making dinner for my family. I usually finished my ACV drink around like 5:30, and that is when I would enjoy a delicious, healthy snack like mixed nuts, hard-boiled eggs, maybe a few of my famous homemade crunchy dill pickles as I finished preparing to serve and eat dinner with my family. And then around 6 o'clock p.m., I would feast. I'm not kidding you. It's OMAD, baby. I love OMAD. And yes, I eat way more than my husband, and I am okay with that. Even those 4 months when I was losing 46 pounds, I ate a lot during that one meal a day. I never counted a single calorie or macro, and I ate until I was completely satisfied. It was beautiful. This truly was complete freedom to me. I savored every bite, and that is when I immediately fell in love with the OMAD intermittent fasting schedule. Additionally, after breaking my fast for the day with my ACV drink, while I was eating my dinner, I usually enjoyed fun flavors of mineral water throughout my actual eating window. I love the different flavors that Aldi has to choose from. They have a great selection. I don't know. I don't even know if there's a kind that I don't like. Grapefruit, maybe. I'm not a fan of grapefruit. But other than that, I like to experiment with different flavors during my eating window only. Okay. So moving into late evening time, after relaxing on the couch with my husband and watching an episode or two, so he's like, okay, 2 is enough. We got kind of hooked on, well, actually it was 90 Day Fiance we got hooked on during COVID when we were home. And then we've moved into Married at First Sight. We're addicted to trashy reality shows. So I would probably watch 2. He says, 2 is enough. That's our limit for the night. So while we're enjoying a few trashy reality shows, I would enjoy a satisfying, healthy dessert. This would usually be between like 7 and 7:30. I always made sure, and I still to this day make sure that this dessert is packed with plenty of healthy fats. Because eating healthy fats at the very end of your eating window, it should be a priority so that you can fast easier and longer into your next fast the next day. So my go-to desserts were, and they still are, usually a Greek yogurt parfait dessert that I make, maybe a protein-packed smoothie, or 1 to 2 of my fat-burning coconut oil fat bombs. So all of those were choices that I definitely would pick from so that I could easily fast longer into my next fast the next day. Then between 7:30 and 8 p.m., I closed my eating window for the day and began my next fasting period. I stuck to drinking plain water for the next hour or so, making sure to stop drinking anything after 9 p.m., 1 hour before heading to bed. And finally, I consistently jumped into bed around 10 o'clock p.m. each night, especially after I discovered that getting enough sleep is most definitely directly related to weight loss. So I tried to make that a consistent routine. And like I said, go to bed by 10 o'clock. And that's it. Easy peasy. I followed this schedule pretty much to the letter, Monday through Saturday, for the 4 months that it took me to lose the 46 pounds. On Sundays, I had a much less strict of a day. I always go to my parents' house on Sundays for a nice big family meal. We've been doing it for, my husband and I, next 2 weeks is our 25th wedding anniversary. So we've been doing it for like 27 years. It's the greatest thing. I love my parents. They've been married 54 years and they are the sweetest. So shout out to Mike and Linda. I love you both so much. Okay, so we eat around 1 p.m. So on Sundays back then, and still now, I follow more of a 2-MAD or a traditional 16-8 schedule, where I eat both lunch and dinner and also snacks throughout the day between about noon and 8 p.m. on Sunday. And I got to tell you, I think it's important to mix things up. So this was also what I believe was a huge part of my success was, having basically that consistent OMAD schedule for 6 days of the week. But then on the 7th day on Sunday, I really did mix it up. I was way less strict. So I think you got to do something like that to keep your metabolism humming. So, and along those same lines, I do think it's important to note that I also did a few 36 to 42 hour extended fasts in that 4-month period as well. But overall, this is, again, pretty much the exact daily schedule that I most often followed. All right, so here's a quick recap of the intermittent fasting schedule I used most often back when I was losing 46 pounds. 6:15 to noon. I just drank a huge glass of water when I woke up, then just stuck to black coffee, no food until about noon. Stopped drinking black coffee around noon and switched to plain water or plain sparkling mineral water. Then, like around 2 or so, I usually switch to some green tea. Between 4 and 4:30, I usually drank more sparkling mineral water on my way home. Once I got home, I did my exercise in the fasted state, broke my fast with my ACV drink, and then started making dinner. And had a few snacks, usually had my big OMAD dinner around 6 o'clock, and then a healthy dessert before 7:30 or so, and started my next fasting period around 7:30, and from 7:30 until 10 o'clock when I went to bed, just plain water, stopping usually with water around 9 o'clock and heading to bed around 10. So that's it. In the end, I gotta say, my journey of losing 46 pounds with this intermittent fasting schedule has been nothing short of life-changing for me. And I hope that you can pick parts of this and say, hey, I think that might work for me, and give it a try. And I know you can be successful with this intermittent fasting thing too. You absolutely can. So it's trial and error. I'm not going to say that what worked for me is going to work just as well for you. Heck, maybe it'll work better. But it's a starting point, and it gives you some reference as to someone who's gone through it, and you can kind of tweak it and see what works for you and what doesn't, and go from there. All right. So that's about it for today's episode. Remember, if you are looking for tons of free, low carb, high protein, intermittent fasting and weight loss meals, snacks, and healthy dessert recipes, you can find over 150 recipes on my main site, sowhatifwithjen.com, and then just head to the recipes tab at the top. And if you are finally ready to get serious, lose the weight, feel great, all that good stuff, you can get my intermittent fasting and weight loss video masterclass for just $39 when you enter the discount code GEMS10, GEMS10 at checkout. Last week, I had a client who sent me the sweetest message. She purchased my course a few weeks ago, and she's currently working her way through it. She is a fellow PE teacher, which I thought was really cool. But in her email, she said, Jen, I absolutely love your course. It honestly feels like I have my own personal coach cheering me on. Your energy and guidance are exactly what I needed to get started. Can't wait to see where this takes me. So, thank you so much. That was just the sweetest message that made me so happy, because truly that is what I want to do. Cheer all of you on along your IF journey. Hey, make it a great day, everybody, and I hope to connect with you again very, very soon. Hey, thank you so much for choosing to spend part of your day listening to this episode of the Intermittent Fasting Gems with Jen podcast. If you think these tips could help a friend or a family member, please consider sharing this episode with them. And if you really enjoyed the show, taking a minute or two to leave a positive review would be so appreciated. Tune in for new 15 to 25-minute episodes released on the 10th, 20th, and 30th of each month. Episodes will feature solo shows filled with IF hacks that have worked for me, as well as episodes where I get to chat with fun folks of all ages who've experienced incredible success with intermittent fasting. If you have questions or want more unique intermittent fasting health and weight loss tips, tricks, and recipes, please visit my website and blog at sowhatifwithjen.com. Finally, we'd love to welcome you into our free intermittent fasting Facebook support group, So What If with Jen. Find all of these links in the show notes below. And as always, I hope you spend your day loving without fear and laughing until your cheeks hurt.